Hey guys, tonight we travel back to a time when ancient civilizations were just learning the tricks of how to truly live in comfort. Imagine this: you're a traveler in time, stepping carefully over cobblestones soaked in stories. The air is thick with mystery and the distant echoes of hammers on stone. Ahead lies an underground labyrinth of tunnels, a marvel of engineering that has stood the test of millennia. And yet why has it endured where others haven't? Whispered legends say many have entered trying to uncover its secrets, only a few returning to tell the tale. You probably won't survive this, but isn't living on the edge part of the fun? So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'd also love to know, where are you watching from? And what time is it in your corner of the world? Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the hum of intrigue pull you closer. You're standing at the edge of a newly uncovered archaeological site, a treasure hidden beneath layers of dust and time. The splendor is subtle, wrapped in the whispers of ancient Rome, whose engineers crafted the aqueducts that now encircle your thoughts. The complexity of this system is breathtaking, even when measured by today's standards. The Romans engineered an expanse of conduits and canal systems that spanned vast stretches of their empire, and their architectural genius allowed water to flow across valleys and through mountains. These aqueducts, with their signature arches rising gracefully against the skyline, still bear witness to their ingenuity. And fascinatingly, some stretches of this empire-wide artery of stone still bring water to modern life, a bone-chilling testament to their creators' skill and foresight. Academics often muse over just how many of these engineering triumphs remain shrouded in the fog of lost methodologies, whether there was a forgotten trick, a hidden formula that allowed these structures to endure. Historians still debate whether it was simply Roman tenacity or some blend of materials and magic that has let them survive so long. You run your fingers over the stone, slippery from centuries of holding its ground against wind and water. You wonder at the creativity recorded in each etching and every strategic curve. As improbable as it might seem, you're privileged to touch what has weathered empires, standing stubborn under sun and rain. One unexpected twist in the aqueduct's tale is the presence of the curious emissiones, fountains, that could spout whimsically or precisely, often catching wanderers unaware in bursts of unexpected shower. Imagine a fine Roman senator, or an unwitting tourist back then, bedecked to impress, suddenly baptized by innovation. And yet there's an endless question as you stand amidst these relics. Why do some sections crumble to dust with every gust of wind or scratch of a leaf, while others remain almost eerily unaffected by time? Here perhaps lies the enchantment of these monuments in their unpredictability. It seems the mystery of these aqueducts is as much about what is absent as what remains. The evidence, the engineering marvels you can see and touch, but the secret recipes, the hidden techniques, continue to elude historians. As you wander further into this maze of human achievement, pondering the mingling sense of ancient stone and modern-day restoration efforts, you find your thoughts spiraling once more through the veins of history like water through these ancient channels. The lessons remain elusive, just out of grasp, reminding you with each step taken that history's greatest secrets often remain beyond the reach of certainty. Your thoughts wander to those who walked here before you, the diligent laborers and visionary planners. Deep inside these structures, it is as though they whisper tales of their own, wrapped intimately in the fabric of time. The timelessness of these aqueducts echoed in every steady drip and constant trickle, inexorably pulls you further along your path of discovery, deeply woven into the heart of the earth and the ages. As you settle deeper into the tale of how the Romans came to such far corners of the world, where once only the natural sounds of the forests and fields reigned, you find yourself in the midst of an adventure spanning centuries. It's a journey that began on the banks of the Tiber River with a small gathering of homes and ambitious tribesmen. Imagine waking up to the gentle rush of the river and the distant noise of busy villagers bustling with trade barter, and perhaps the occasional heated debate over livestock. Life in Rome was not unlike what you might expect. It was filled with challenges, innovations, and more than a few salacious political scandals. Yet it was this very combination that fueled the expansion beyond their modest beginnings. Romans were nothing if not bold and resourceful, adopting and adapting the best of what they encountered. Unlike their favorite olive oils or wines, which they just couldn't get enough of from abroad, they borrowed architectural and engineering ingenuity from the neighbors they would eventually conquer. Ingenious they were, as evidenced by the aqueducts hacking water over miles of arid terrain into bustling cities, a slight upgrade from your typical medieval plumbing, wouldn't you say? As you drift down cobbled streets in your imagination, picture the strength of the Roman legions. They weren't just your average soldiers. These were disciplined, organized men committed to the cause of expanding an empire. They mastered the art of logistics with roads that traversed mountains and plains, effectively connecting distant lands like no army had before. Perhaps in the calm of this bedtime story, it's difficult to imagine the clatter of armor and the strategy behind their formation. But rest assured, Roman soldiers were known for their stoic resilience, even if historians still debate whether they might have indulged a little too heavily in wine when the evening's work was done. As their reach extended across continents, taking their laws, culture, and infrastructure with them, they left an indelible mark on the world. The Roman Forum, once alive with the vibrancy of debate and politics, or the Colosseum ringing with the cheers and gasps of crowds watching gladiatorial contests, these remain as stone memories peeling back layers of history. Yet amidst the glory, one cannot help but notice the whispers of unrest and the echo of beginnings of their decline, the creeping difficulties at the edge of this vast empire. Surprisingly, this magnificent empire was also bogged down by everyday problems, ones you wouldn't think empires find themselves with. An over-reliance on slave labor, slowed technological advancement. Revolts were not uncommon undercurrents of dissatisfaction, often embodied in the phrase bread, and circuses can only do so much. Society was grinding under the wheels of corruption army bureaucracy and political maneuverings, reasons that might have whispered trepidation into the emperor's ear. And here is where the edge of their journey leads us: the withdrawal. Economic challenges mounted, internal divisions widened, and outside pressures increased the burden. While it's fascinating to picture the world as it was, old Roman cities now buried beneath layers of modern life, it's equally compelling to understand why some lengths had to be let go. Did the Romans' ambition eventually outstrip their means? Quite possibly. The Silver Age of emperors was not without its tarnish. Perhaps you feel a touch of sadness hearing this tale, the tale of a dreamer's empire that once stretched as far north as Britain's mist-shrouded islands, and as far east as the deserts of Parthia. But don't feel too despondent. The Romans bequeathed a legacy rich in engineering marvels, languages, and governance systems that still shape countries today. If you've ever dined in a bricked square, alight with string lights, sipped an espresso and thrown a coin into a fountain, you've brushed against the echoes of their culture. So if nothing else, you'll drift into sleep with visions of vine-tangled villas and marble arches dancing in your head. As you nestle into the hush of the evening picture, the world settling from a bustling harmony to this soft murmuring rest, the Roman Empire's tale is a vivid reminder of human quest and ambition. So tuck into this gentle slumber, carrying with you the whispers of bygone triumphs and lessons etched in the fine sands of history, ready to be unearthed again as you dream. You find yourself wandering through the quiet corridors of a vast ancient museum where shadows dance mysteriously across the facades of long-forgotten artifacts. As you stroll past dimly lit displays, you catch sight of peculiar objects resting in glass cases. They're small, with intricate carvings and strange shapes that beg for explanation. Weapons, religious symbols, toys. No scholar wholeheartedly agrees on their exact purpose, and perhaps you never will either, but that's all part of the intrigue. Some of these objects look like they've seen better days, bearing the scars of time. Made from stone and bone, you can't help but marvel at their craftsmanship. Imagine the hands that once shaped them, the stories whispered as these items passed from one generation to the next. Was that spiral design just for show? Or did it hold a deeper meaning that might change the course of our understanding? It's an old relic from the Bronze Age, and as you run your fingers along the smoothed edges, you realize it's older than most civilizations we consider ancient. As you lean closer, your curiosity grows like a vine. Historians are still on the fence about their origins and significances. You know, there's an old saying about not judging a book by its cover, and it seems to apply here perfectly. In one case, there's an object that looks remarkably like a boomerang, a fearsome weapon in the right hands. However, it's fashioned from delicate ivory, suggesting it might have been used in ceremonies or rituals rather than hunting or warfare. A fascinating turn from a tool of survival to a symbol of reverence. You chuckle softly at the thought, that our ancestors might have had their own form of Pinterest, delighting in sharing their designs and motifs. Meanwhile, not all these artifacts are so easily pegged. Here you stand in front of a piece that could be a remarkably lifelike doll, carved out of wood, wearing remnants of what might have once been vibrant paint. It's simple, yet eloquent, possessing a charm that might have captivated children or the reverent awe of worshippers. The unknown artisan had a gift for balancing whimsy with realism, leaving us to wonder if this was a precursor to modern toys or something more profound. Academics keep debating whether these were made to bring joy or divine attention. In another section, you observe a peculiar assembly of stones, each with a series of holes in strange patterns. Today, some might dismiss this as an early game board, a pastime to while away long evenings. But to others, it might have charted the stars or organized the affairs of the living or the dead. It's a comforting thought, isn't it? Knowing the human urge to play, connect, or look up at the stars hasn't really changed over millennia. The hallway stretches out, and you continue to pick through these ghostly narratives with fresh eyes. Each artifact tells its own silent story, a pebble thrown into the pond of history that sends ripples across human consciousness. You recall another curious item, an ornately carved stone, possibly an offering, speaks to the duality of fear and faith ancient peoples navigated. In those shapes and symbols, you sense how beliefs transformed as societies evolved. What was once a frightening talisman might have become a symbol of protection. You pause for a moment, letting this all sink in. It's a humbling reminder of how so many can argue over the purpose of seemingly simple objects, not unlike the arguments in your own home over the best way to arrange furniture. If you believe art reflects culture, what does this say about those who created them? Just like our modern world, they were complex, full of humor, belief, and maybe a touch of mischief. As you ponder over these relics, the room's steady climate control hums a soft lullaby, gently wrapping around you like a cozy blanket of contemplation. These items, mysterious and unsolved, exist in the twilight between certainty and speculation. Whether tools of survival, symbols of belief, or sources of enjoyment, their purpose remains one of the many enigmas that tickle the scholarly mind. The debate over weapons, religious symbols, or ancient toys continues an endless loop of possibility and wonder. So as the evening deepens, and your eyelids grow heavy like those of a storied historian after a day of discovery, let these whispers from the past cradle you to sleep. You may not have all the answers, but tonight as you dream, perhaps you'll stumble upon a discovery of your own one that unlocks the secrets hidden in these ancient shadows. And as the lights dim around you, you find comfort in knowing that some mysteries, just like sleep, are meant to be indulged slowly and savored. You find yourself drawn deeper into the woods where ancient trees whisper their secrets under the moonlit sky. This place is both comforting and mysterious, a lush tapestry of life and shadow that holds the echoes of travelers past. Here, the only path you follow is the one about which few speak, a path more precise than your compass needle, yet it leads you to nowhere. As you step through a clearing, you notice the smooth stones beneath your feet form a precise, unwavering line. It's an unassuming yet curiously exacting path, a Roman road that, despite its engineering genius, ends abruptly in the dense heart of the forest. Ah, the Romans, masters of road construction, whose designs crisscross the heart of their empire. Yet here in the middle of nature's embrace, this hyper-structured creation intrudes with an enigmatic ambiguity. Historians still debate whether these roads were meant to expand territories or for rapid mobilization against threats unseen, possibly even imagined. That's part of their enduring charm and mystery. You're struck by the textures beneath your feet, the rocks carefully cut and laid over 2,000 years ago. These roads were built for eternity, yet they wane, swallowed by the advancing forest. As you wander further, you can't help but marvel at the Roman fervor for perfection so exacting. You think they might have rivaled the Hammurabi Code in their dedication to ordnance. And there's the oddity you come across embedded within the stones. A singular tile, unlike the others, is etched with a faded emblem. It might have once been a hand, a symbol of welcome, or maybe a mark of restriction. Such mysteries lie among the forests, where sunlight dances and shadows merge. While the likes of the Via Appia in Italy boast grand starts and finishes, these forest roads seem whispers of ambition unmet. Here, Gita scholars murmur about the unknown endpoints. Were they abandoned due to a faltering empire, or left as mere testaments to another reality, where empire builder vision falters under the weight of constant ambition? Consider the possibility as you wander in the quiet, that these roads were never meant to end. An unwritten chapter in the story, scrolls of history, their purpose perhaps unfathomable to us now, cloaked by pine needles, and the hands of time that push earth and destiny alike forward. Yet the roads were not without their dedication. With each step, inspect the slight grooves worn into stones by legions of soldiers, or perhaps merchants with wares, driving the economic might of Rome. You'll note the clever construction stones sloped away to drain water away, ensuring use in all weather, reaching into regions far beyond the Mediterranean warmth. Scholars propose these roads may have been part of a strategic deception, or mere silent sentinels to mark territory under dusk's supervision. Meanwhile, nature claims back its realm, perhaps delighting in puzzling you. Though vines creep upon them as you trace their edge, you sense their lingering strength. Little channels run alongside like veins, once bulging with life, whispering tales caught in time, each back road teeming with latent purpose, now adrift. These trails spark an ancient longing in you, for certainty, for connection, much like those builders who once orchestrated stones into unbroken lines. You feel a tether to eternity's call. Each stone months older, under your step, rooted in grounds both public and secret, their origins concealed by layers of life's tapestry. You sense the tranquility, hear the secret rustle of leaves, perceive all these as eternal stories. What conversations beneath the sunlit canopy has this forest witnessed? What forgotten words linger among the timber, like the tiptoe of a curious breeze? Questions stir as sleep beckons with subtle glances. As the warmth of day ebbs and the cold settles in nightly dew, you find solace in the unseen. The cloaked purpose of this ancient track offers more than conclusion. It opens a window to perceive how clever design frames man's journey with nature, still all-encompassing. Tonight, consider this: roads like stories must sometimes lead into the unexpected. Purpose is not always delineated, and understanding fades into the realm of dreams, where answers roam like the rustle of branches. And so roads end where forest dreams begin, a mystery embraced by the shadows' play. You move forward into where the soft earth swallows the precise craftsmanship. The enduring stones tell a language of precision, a harmony to lull you into restful wonders. And as night softens into enveloping slumber, you breathe deeply this blend of mystery and ancient calm. Drift along a Roman road where answers wait quietly among quiet shadows and fading echoes, guiding you gently towards the dreams that await in the night beyond. In this part of the story, you find yourself wandering through the dusty stacks of an ancient library. The air is thick with the scent of old parchment, a comforting smell that seems to cocoon you in history itself. Your footsteps are soft, almost silent on the wooden floors. You imagine that centuries ago, scholars walked these very floors, their robes whispering as they passed by shelves of knowledge. It's a place where time seems to bend and stretch, leaving you suspended in a quiet, contemplative moment. You reach a dimly lit corner where the shadows deepen and obscurity reigns. Here in this forgotten alcove, you find an old table cluttered with scrolls and books. There's a particular book that catches your eye. Its spine is worn, the title nearly erased from countless readings. You pick it up feeling the weight of age and stories untold within its pages. As you open the book, there's a tingle of anticipation. But inside, you find no tales of grandeur or heroes. Instead, there are just impressions, notes scribbled hastily in the margins. The records are incomplete, whispering of someone who has no official place in history. His presence is marked only by a simple phrase, just silver eyes staring into nothing. You wonder if he was a scholar like those who once roamed this library, or perhaps a wanderer like yourself. His story, however, is punctuated by the absence of facts, leading you down a winding path of curiosity. The silver eyes evoke an image of someone gazing into the unknown, reflecting an unfathomable mystery. Historians still debate whether his tale was ever meant to be told at all, or if his existence was erased deliberately from the annals of time, similar to the way the famous Library of Alexandria was lost to flames, taking countless narratives with it. Yet even amid the silence of forgotten history, the idea of this observer prevails. Perhaps he was an architect of inspiration, or a silent guardian of unseen knowledge. As you ponder this enigma, you discover a peculiar detail nestled within one of the scribbled notes. It mentions a town buried by sands and time, where echoes of a forgotten civilization linger. This town, it suggests, might hold more remnants of his existence. And it's here in the midst of your musings that you decide to journey forth deep into the rippling dunes of history's desert. But before your imagination spirits you away completely, you take a moment to breathe in the quiet resilience of the library. Like a stone guardian, it bears witness to the parade of people and eras that pass through its doors. Just as the concept that the Great Pyramid at Giza was once encrusted in polished limestone, shimmering under the sun, you're reminded that the most enigmatic pasts can leave the most profound impressions. The journey ahead promises more than just a search through time. It promises the revelation of threads that connect us to those who peered into the great unknown, just like this enigmatic figure with silver eyes. You tuck the book under your arm, a new commitment tingling at your fingertips. The soft clatter of pages echoes as you close the book, leaving the story suspended, but ready to unfold as you step away from the dusty table. With the library's hush lingering in your ear, you look ahead into the possibilities that stretch beyond its walls. The air carries a light breeze that, despite being imaginary, feels as real as the gentle rustle of leaves in a quiet evening garden. Guided by curiosity with footsteps, soft as whispers you move forward, navigating the golden sands of time, where the echoes and shadows of the past beckon you onward. As you stand at the foot of an ancient wall, it's difficult to truly grasp its immense presence. The stones stretch out into the distance, weaving through rolling hills and whispering the secrets of the ages. This is Hadrian's Wall, a marvel of Roman engineering, designed, they say, to keep the barbarians at bay. But here, under the soft light of the moon, it's hard to imagine any fierce warriors charging at this ancient line. The air is still, the silence soothing as you trace your fingers along the worn stones, each a testament to the hands that placed it there nearly 2 millennia ago. The Romans, with their appetite for conquest and order, claimed this formidable structure was necessary to protect their hold on Britannia. Yet as you breathe in the cool night air, you sense a different story hidden within the gaps of history. Historians still debate whether these lands witnessed frequent skirmishes or if the wall's imposing form served more as a psychological barrier, a statement of Roman power to the people who lived beyond. Perhaps the threat was less immediate than they claimed, with no smoking fires or battle-worn gates to offer immediate evidence of the enemy pressing against these borders. Instead, the narrative may have been one woven of projection and Roman ego determining that their civilization was the pinnacle, while the tribes across the wall were lesser beings. The reality of these so-called barbarians is more nuanced, not the ragtag mobs often depicted, but societies with their rhythms and rules. The juxtaposition of these two worlds, with Hadrian's Wall as their tangible divide, could symbolize not a line of battle, but more of a cultural frontier. During your quiet footsteps along the remnants of this wall, you think about the soldiers who once stood sentry here, their nightly vigil over foreign lands. It's comforting to imagine their lives settled into routines, gossiping about mundane matters like unruly horses or resilient patches of mud that never seem to dry. You picture them warming their hands over small fires, telling tales of distant homes, while their shadows flicker against the stones. Interestingly, there's a belief that, contrary to popular warlike imagery, the wall was far more akin to a customs checkpoint, a controlled passage through which trade and interaction flowed. People and goods moved between worlds, exchanging stories, skills, and spices. Rome, with its keen eye for administration, may have deftly understood this wall as a turnstile rather than a barricade. They may not have feared the people beyond, but rather found them intriguingly useful. The wall, stretching 80 miles across the windswept expanse from Wall's End to Bonus on Solway, is punctuated by mile castles and watchtowers' odd names that tangle on your tongue like forgotten nursery rhymes. Each served as a small fort, providing shelter and structure for the soldiers, a comforting embrace against the vastness of a land that was not quite tamed nor quite wild. The soldiers here were from all over the Roman Empire, Gauls, Spaniards, and Germans, each leaving fragments of their heritage embedded in the British soil. One surprising detail whispers through the leaves. Archaeologists unearthed a pair of children's shoes from the Roman era, indicating that families lived alongside the soldiers. It's a gentle revelation casting a human hue over the notion of hardened warriors, revealing a softer side of life on the frontier. As you continue alongside these ancient stones, the night air carries faint echoes of laughter and life from centuries long past. There's irony in the fact that rather than tales of fierce battles, the wall holds stories of community and interaction preserved in the very stones that were meant to keep people apart. The true significance of Hadrian's wall may lie not in the conflict it deterred, but in the connections it enabled. So here you are walking, dreaming, letting your imagination reconstruct a realm where Romans and barbarians coexisted, where daily life overshadowed the chaos of conquest. Here in the starlit tranquility, you find the peace between histories lying quiet, as the night envelops you, inviting you to ponder the enigmatic dance of past and present along this eternal path of stone and sky. As you lean closer to this odd artifact, a chill creeps up your spine, not from fear, but from the magnetic pull of the past whispering stories you feel you are destined to uncover. The craftsmanship is unlike any you've seen. Its delicate engravings suggest a tale that eclipses standard military issue. You trace your finger along a motif of interlaced leaves and creatures' wolves with elongated necks, something that reflects both beauty and power. For centuries, historians have marveled at such relics, often debating the timeline and culture they might belong to. This particular artifact calls to mind the lost legacies of warriors and explorers long forgotten to the sands of time. Just like the astonishing helmets found in the ship burial at Sutton Hoo, this armor seems to carry stories unrecorded in textbooks. There's a surprising detail on its underside, pictograms of astronomical patterns that mirror ancient Celtic star maps. Their precise alignment still a source of academic uncertainty. Could this piece have belonged to a people who charted the stars differently, whose ways of understanding the world were markedly distinct from their contemporaries? Every curve in the metal seems to hint at a connection to paths less traveled by historians. Unsure, yet intrigued, you wonder who might have worn such armor. The lack of matching records in traditional military archives only heightens the mystery. Your mind wanders through the halls of history, considering the enigmatic figures who have eluded precise classification from the Sea Peoples, who partially precipitated the late Bronze Age collapse, to the fierce Scythians who roamed the vast Eurasian steppes. But this design feels distinct even from their remarkable legacy of artistry and power. Perhaps it is the work of a small isolated clan whose symbolic language hasn't been fully deciphered. Swept further into reverie, you find yourself considering the broader tapestry of both known and unknown history. How many tales like this have been overshadowed by the larger narrative, the lives lost to obscurity, yet rich with their own unique stories. The mystery deepens as you engage all your senses, feeling the cool whisper of the material in your palm, a sensation that you realize holds secrets far grander than a simple explanation can afford. And so the puzzle remains. It doesn't match any known military design. Who wore it? You recall the discovery of the terracotta army, thousands of life-sized figures, each uniquely crafted and unknown to the world until unearthed millennia after they were buried. Just like those figures, this artifact hides in the open, daring anyone to unlock its secrets. To think that such wonders lie dormant until one gentle curiosity stirs them to life might even lend a certain magic to the bedtime dusk, the same magic that colored the skies overhead when these unknown warriors once marched beneath the moon or sun. Maybe tonight, as you drift into sleep, you'll dream of ancient landscapes and cultural crossroads where such mysterious paths first intertwined. You stand up from where you had knelt, feeling the dazzle of the past slowly relinquish its hold on you, yet leaving a gentle imprint on your imagination. As you continue your stroll through the quiet meadows, the memories of past warriors accompanying you, another uncharted story waits just beyond the horizon, as history often does. The findings from this meadow may remain for now a puzzle, cloaked in the tapestry of time, awaiting a future soul to wander this way. But you realize that part of history's charm is not in the immediate understanding, but in the wonder it evokes, the eternal invitation to learn more. So as you return from this enchanting walk through history, despite the lack of clear answers, there's comfort in the unending possibilities that the past holds. The rhythmic hum of your fan, the gentle breeze, and the soft glow of dimmed lights create a cocoon of tranquility, inviting you to let your thoughts drift into the worlds beyond. With eyes growing heavy and a heart lightened by curiosity, you breathe in deeply and release a sigh that carries with it all traces of the day's mysteries. Your bed warm and inviting cradles you softly into sleep. It's been days since you first found yourself in this place, a room that seems not just to have been forgotten by time, but actively hidden from it. The walls around you are not merely walls. They are barriers, each brick, a whisper of mystery, each crack, a thin line of a story unsaid. As you touch the cool, uneven surface, there's a feeling that something monumental happened here. And yet, no one thought it important enough to leave behind a way out, or even an explanation. The room is windowless, the only light entering through a small gap high above that doesn't even allow you a glimpse of the outside world. How you got here is as much of a puzzle as what you'll do now. You've retraced your steps countless times, trying to find logic in a place where none seems to exist. You feel like Howard Carter when he first peered into Tutankhamun's tomb. Only your discovery doesn't promise treasure, just questions without answers. You have managed to piece together small hints of a past life within these walls. Your fingers trace an age-old mosaic hidden beneath dust and grime, its patterns teasing a story of grandeur or perhaps tragedy. A piece of art, too, painstakingly crafted to have been left to wither away in this forgotten chamber. It's framed in an architectural style that reminds you of the ancient Roman baths, an era known for its luxuriant embrace of art and intellect. And yet, there's something unusual about the design, something that doesn't sit right. Just like the tales of Roman engineers, possibly inventing a primitive version of the steam engine centuries before. Watt made it famous, a fact historians still debate vehemently. You muse whether the creators of this room were equally ahead of their time, building something remarkable and then sealing it off from the world altogether. As dust motes dance in the narrow stream of light, the air feels charged, like it holds secrets desperate to be told. There's light sarcasm in the absurdity of it all, as you picture a meeting of ancient minds, deciding to seal this monument instead of showcasing it. Brilliant, you might say to yourself in low tones, a wonderful use of prime real estate. The floor creaks beneath your weight, its tired wooden boards groaning quietly, echoing in the silence, like the soft hum of a fan in the background you almost imagine hearing. It's soothing, this familiarity. Now as your eyes adjust to the dimness, you notice the bricks aren't all uniform in color. Some are darker, newer as though they've been added recently. This strikes you as odd, given the impossibility of your current predicament. In your mind, a question forms as persistent as the timeless question of whether Nero really did play the lyre, while Rome burned a detail often debated by scholars and historians alike. Someone or something went to great lengths to hide inside here. But why? The air is heavy with a musty scent, ancient yet oddly comforting, like the pages of an old book in a library long undisturbed. Each breath feels like inhaling history, and you almost convince yourself you can hear faint whispers as if the air itself spoke in hushed tones of stories long forgotten. Even in this solitude, a sense of connection links you to those who once possibly inhabited this space. They too might have felt the coolness of the walls, heard the same echoes of their thoughts bouncing silently back at them. Did they find peace here? Or were they just as bewildered? As you ponder, you think about how Napoleon's soldiers might have felt upon stumbling into the caverns of the Great Pyramids of Giza, unsure of what today's discovery might bring. Perhaps, like them, you harbor a silent hope for hidden knowledge, a wish for something magnificent, waiting just beyond the next corner of your bricked sanctuary. But questions remain. Surprising details like the unexpected presence of a sprig of lavender tucked into a crevice where moisture and light could barely reach raise more questions. How did it survive? A relic left by the room's last unknown resident. And what message did it carry through the ages? As you strain your mind to blend these fragments into a coherent tapestry, to step into the lives and decisions of those who might have wandered these same shadows. It's the uncertainty that remains your constant companion. Perhaps, though, the true story isn't in the facts or figures, but in the imagination. It ignites a bedtime tale, spinning itself through time, much like how you find yourself now, ensconced in mystery's embrace, the outside world, forgotten as the story within these walls becomes all-consuming. You lean back against the bricks, their solid presence grounding amid the swirling thoughts. The room may be bricked from the inside with no exit or explanation, yet here, amidst the calm and cozy strangeness of it all, you discover not a trap, but a treasure trove of possibility. Perhaps that's the charm of history, the questions that remain unanswered invite us to dream and wonder endlessly. And as your eyes grow heavier, the gentle lull of the unknown wraps around you, allowing the story to fade softly into the recesses of your mind, just as a lullaby would, leaving you to drift into rest, comfortably intrigued and serenely mesmerized by the echoes of history within. As you stroll along a moonlit path, the gentle rustling of leaves whispers timeless secrets to you. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of earth and moss, mingling with the soft sounds of a distant river. Your thoughts meander back to the ancient peoples who once looked up at the same stars you see tonight. Tonight you find yourself drawn to a mystery that has puzzled curious minds for centuries. How did those ancient star engravers know the skies so well? In your mind's eye, you see the flickering shadows of a prehistoric artist crouched beside a rock canvas. He is not guided by the light of your modern screens, but by the luminescent glow of 1,000 stars. The stars wink back at him, perhaps sharing some celestial joke, as the artist deftly carves their patterns into stone. These stars, it seems, provided a map, or perhaps a story written across the heavens. The engraver's hands worked with steady confidence, etching each star with precision. How, you wonder, could someone from so long ago record the cosmos in such detail without the tools and technology that seem essential to us now? Historians still debate whether these early astronomers were mere observers, or if they had a deeper connection with the universe. The carvings themselves, ancient star maps etched into stone, suggest a sophistication that seems to defy the constraints of their time. One unusual detail that often catches the eye is the near-perfect alignment of these engravings with actual celestial constellations, some of which remain prominent in our night sky today. Your thoughts drift toward a particular site, the Napta Playa, in southern Egypt, where stone circles align with the midsummer sunrise, a place where stargazing stones are as familiar as your own garden's stepping stones. These early astronomers and artists measured time by the patterns of the sky, their stone arrangements echoing celestial cycles. And yet, even with such sophisticated knowledge, the exact purpose behind these engravings remains shrouded in mystery. You ponder the insight these early engravers possessed. Had they mapped the heavens for practical reasons? Were the stars guides for navigation, or part of a mystical narrative that lent meaning to their lives? Perhaps the answer lies in a blend of practicality and spirituality, guiding their harvests and rituals by the predictable dance of the universe. Curiosity and a hint of skepticism dance within you as you consider these questions. Across the world, other ancient cultures crafted their unique star-based narratives. The Babylonians, for example, were among the first known cultures to document their celestial observations, inscribing them on clay tablets with meticulous accuracy. What began primarily as a practical matter, tracking seasons and guiding travelers across deserts, soon wove into myths and stories shared around flickering fires. A gentle realization comes to you: the night sky was a canvas, and storyteller long before printed pages could capture our dreams. As you walk beneath the modern glow of these ancient stars, there's a comforting thought. You're part of a universal continuity. The same stars that guided ancient feet across the ground guide you home each night. Historians still puzzle over the precise methods used to map these constellations so long ago. Some theories suggest a more sophisticated culture than we give credit for, using mathematics and tools crafted from the world around them. Others point to a naturalistic observation where centuries of sky watching honed their understanding to precision levels we today find remarkable. The role of these ancient astronomers often entwined them deeply with their communities as keepers of time and seasons. Perhaps their ability to read the stars granted them a revered status akin to the keepers of wisdom or the architects of shared dreams and destinies. As you delve deeper into this star-threaded tapestry, imagine the lively debates that might have stirred among these early stargazers. In one corner, a seasoned elder might insist on the return of a seasonal ceremony. In another, a younger visionary pushes for alignment with a newly mapped constellation. These discussions reflect humanity's enduring quest to find order in the cosmic dance above them. Surprising to them as it might be to you, is how accurately some aspects of these ancient star maps still hold. Despite the shifting constellations and gradual drift over millennia, the heart and spirit of their observations resonate with what you see tonight. This persistence reveals a vibrant legacy, a testament to humanity's unyielding connection to the stars. Whispering along the paths of time, their engravings speak of unity between the earth and the cosmos, a testament to the interplay between human dreams and the ageless universe. As the night deepens, you feel the embrace of this cosmic narrative, the past and present converging beneath the infinite sky. And so, as you stretch out beneath this celestial canopy, your mind begins to drift along this cosmic thread, joining the shared legacy of stargazers, for whom the night sky remains a vast storybook written in light. The engravers of old may have turned their gaze upwards, but their inscriptions anchor us deeply within the earth's embrace, reminding each observer of their place within the universe. Exhale slowly, allowing the calm night air to fill your senses, and let the gentle hum of the world ease your thoughts. Relax into the comfort of knowing that as the stars twinkle with the same brightness they've held for millions of years, they continue to be both a mystery and a guide for the dreamers who dare to chart their course by the light of distant suns. With that thought, you let go of the day's questions and wonderings, nestling into sleep's soft embrace. reassured by the stars that watch over you, ancient and serene. Historians are an enigmatic bunch, often shrouded in the mysteries of the past they love so dearly. Tonight, we explore one of those intriguing corners of history where gentle whispers might have conveyed messages with grave consequences. Picture yourself in a time of candlelit shadows and parchment whispers. You're walking along cobblestone streets, mysterious figures slipping through the veil of night. Cloaked figures gather during the witching hour, exchanging secret glances and cryptic gestures. You're in a time where signs and symbols mean the difference between loyalty and treachery. Hidden societies abound, each with their own cryptic codes. Some say, without a hint of irony, that you probably won't survive such espionage games without a keen eye and a quick wit. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Then let me know where you're listening from and what time it is for you in the comments. Now dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. As you wander through these ancient streets, imagine clenched fists holding parchment etched with symbols known only to a select few. The air is thick with possibilities and secrets. Historians still debate whether these clandestine gatherings led to grand schemes that shaped the course of nations. But tales tell of societies bound by oaths, as ironclad as any royal decree. In shadow-filled rooms, men and women in simple garbs wear the guise of ordinary folk by day, only to reveal their true selves when the moon is high. These assemblies are home to a code language practically invisible, to outsiders possibly meant as a cloak to hide intentions. Secret communication enacted through gestures, tokens, left beside worn books or layered within the lilting phrases of everyday conversation. Such cryptic methods served as an invisible ink of the time, each message awaiting revelation by those in the know. Picture a dim library with its creaky floorboards softened by dust and time serving as the meeting ground for these enigmatic societies. You might be surprised it was not simply words or signs that told stories. Objects were infused with meaning. A ring passed from one hand to another under the cover of dim candlelight could signal allegiance. A careful touch might communicate coded messages. Choose wisely, though, as history shows a wrong adjustment, a misunderstood gesture could send soldiers scrambling through the night. You feel the tension build, a game of wits and perception that would leave most breathless. Yet even within these high stakes, curiosity weaves a cozy sense of belonging among those who hold the knowledge, a strange sanctuary of sorts built on whispers and shadows. Oh, and the fascination is mutual. Some might say obsession grows within the confines of these secret societies to perfect the clandestine conversation. Amidst this web of intrigue lies a surprising ally, the humble library cat. In its quiet way, this feline sentinel becomes a guardian of secrets, its every footstep a whisper the floorboards share, only with the shadows. You might chuckle, but it's said that even cats recognized the significance of their role, prancing with the unearned dignity of one who knows too much. Of course, there's much academic uncertainty about whether these stories are fact fiction or a bit of both. But aren't the best tales, where reality dances with legend? They invite you to listen closely to pick out truth, like the last morsel at a feast. Our journey is only just beginning, dear listener. Each chapter reveals another layer, pencil-thin puzzles, wrapped tightly in the folds of history's cloak. As you find yourself standing amidst the whispering echoes of this hushed world, a sense of wonder takes hold. Imagine yourself leaning in, seeking the meanings behind each glance, and gesture part, detective part historian. Every shadow seems alive with possibility. Every forgotten tale, a thread connecting to a vast hidden tapestry, yet to be fully understood. Tomorrow beckons, but for tonight let the soft embrace of mystery guide you as heavy eyelids descend like the setting sun, pulling curtains on another evening's exploration. You know now the whispers aren't just in the air, but perhaps lurking behind every unturned rock and unsolved riddle of history. So let them inspire dreams of curiosity and connection. And remember, in the world of hidden societies, not all is as it seems. Now let's jump into the narrative where it left off. You found yourself standing at the entrance to what was once thought to be a military bunker or ancient drainage system, a notion that historians still debate. But instead, it seems to be something else entirely. Perhaps a forgotten labyrinth, a twisting network of passages that defy easy explanation. As you step inside, the air shifts. It's cooler with a musty scent of earth and rocks, mingled with an undercurrent of something older, perhaps even a whisper of long-lost secrets. The soft crunch of gravel underfoot echoes faintly in the distance, absorbed quickly by the thick stone walls. Your flashlight beam bounces off the damp walls, revealing etchings that seem to murmur under your scrutiny like whispers from a bygone era. It's peculiar, these markings, as intricate as the designs of a skilled artist, yet random, in a manner that reminds you of how nature creates its own art through the wind and rain. Historians have yet to agree on their exact origin. Some suggest an ancient civilization. Others think it may simply be the handiwork of those seeking shelter, etching their presence into the world. Your path forks here. The decision of left or right lies ahead, each passage wrapped in its own aura of mystery. You choose the left, trusting a gut instinct that whispers in the language of old adventures and the curious stories that lead into the unknown. The tunnel opens into a small chamber, and here your light catches something reflective just beyond your immediate field of vision. As you approach, the glimmer resolves into the shapes of aged pottery and shards of metal, their designs suggesting not military precision but a different past. Perhaps these belong to the workers who toiled here, or perhaps the odd assortment is the legacy of those who deemed this place a sanctuary. One of the potteries still holds the faintest scent of herbs, a detail that surprises you in its fragility, lasting centuries beyond its expected lifetime, preserved by the very air that has sheltered it. This scent evokes among researchers thoughts of ancient rituals or simple everyday acts of life that we tend to romanticize. Despite volumes written by experts, one's imagination fills the gaps where facts fall short. A slow rumble interrupts your reverie, not of an imminent collapse, mind. You, though all adventures come with their own risks, doesn't it? Make it more tempting, but perhaps the sound of the earth settling into itself, as if the labyrinth acknowledges your presence and story. Moving deeper, you pass through a narrow passage. As the air thickens slightly, it's like the labyrinth itself is reminding you of its enclosed, timeless hold. Yet just as quickly, it opens into another chamber, larger this time, with a ceiling so high, the flashlight can only hint at its contours. Something about this chamber is different. The acoustics here are peculiar each step, creating ripples of sound that play across the room like a half-forgotten tune on the verge of memory. There's a theory among some historians suggesting chambers like this were used for gatherings or ceremonies, the natural acoustics adding to an atmosphere now long silent. Spotting a row of surprisingly intact stones, you venture over, gently sweeping away dust, to reveal more of the artistry involved in their placement. Their arrangement is precise, yet lacks the regimented symmetry one might expect in a military context, hinting instead at purpose or maybe chaos at the hands of time intertwined. Suddenly your attention catches on something fantastical, a stone lever worked till smoothed by years of use or mere observation. It's a secretive element dancing on the edge of credibility, inspiring both scholarly debates and more whimsical tales about its function. Does it open a hidden passage? Does it merely settle one's imagination into excited anticipation, with historians still arguing over its real use? The lever remains both a mystery and a temptation. In a storyteller's twist of irony, you decide for the moment to leave the lever, as it is allowing the mystery to remain unspoiled. After all, aren't some mysteries best left, as they are allowing future wanderers and dreamers a chance to ponder? Retracing your steps, your thoughts circle around the idea of what the labyrinth may have once been. Was it truly a forgotten maze, crafted for some undisclosed purpose? Or has its existence been shaped over time by the tales and interpretations layered upon it? Every corner you pass feels refreshed under your returning gaze, illuminated now not just by the light you carry, but by the stories imagined between each shadow. The labyrinth breathes in its silence, a soothing inhale and exhale that seems to guide you gently back the way you came. As you emerge into the stillness of the outside world, the whispers of the labyrinth echo softly in your mind, its secrets untangled yet tantalizingly preserved. You step back into the world with a sense of strange peace and curiosity intertwined. It's as if the labyrinth wished to share just enough of its story to remind you of the wonders that sleep beneath the ordinary places, waiting patiently and timelessly for someone willing to listen. And on this quiet walk back, the world seems a bit slower, a bit softer, a lullaby sung by the land itself, as your footsteps carry you gently away from the forgotten labyrinth, leaving its mysteries to rest once more, until another soul comes seeking tales of their own. In the shadowy glow of the moonlit forest you wander, the soft rustle of leaves underfoot offers a comforting rhythm, And then you discover a quaint old structure, an observatory, its dome gleaming like a silver eye in the dark. In your hands, you hold a map of the cosmos inked with tales of stars and cosmic storms. You might call it magical, but tonight let's just say it's a sprinkle of celestial mystery settled around you. As you step inside, a cool stone-laden room unfolds, whispering echoes of ancient quests for understanding. The faint whir of the telescope above gives the place a gentle heartbeat, quieting the chatter of your mind. Here within these walls, the air feels heavy, with unspoken secrets, unpeeled discoveries waiting to be touched. And yet, there's an undeniable warmth, as if the walls themselves wrap you in a gentle embrace. It's easy to imagine that somewhere in the universe a bright star catches a glimpse of you and winks back. Continuing past towering columns of dusty tomes and star charts, you find a diary left behind by a keen-eyed astronomer. Each page tells of nights spent awake, tracing the sky's ancient paths to comprehend the universe. Despite the brilliance of modern science, you read how some celestial puzzles have eluded even the sharpest minds. The diary whispers of a special star whose enigmatic composition still baffles astronomers, a star that dances on the very edge of scientific understanding. Historians still ponder how civilizations past could inscribe without our technology the celestial bodies on stones and scrolls with unsettling precision. Did they whisper to the stars, or was it intuition, like the way you sometimes just feel a storm coming? You find yourself drawn deeper, like a moth, to a lamplit wonder, craving the story beyond the scope. Stories of the alchemical star, a tantalizing name for a star whose true nature modern science can't fully decipher. It's a cosmic Fox Mulder moment we want to believe. What awaits is a tale as vast and full of potential as your imagination woven with bits of history and sprinkled with the mischief of the unknown. As the night enfolds you in its velvet embrace, a quiet thrill tingles in your bones. With each page turned and each note analyzed, you step further into a landscape, both of earth and not a universe, where the things yet unexplained hold just as much allure as those we claim to know. And remember, even as knowledge grows, some threads of cosmic fabric remain tantalizingly out of reach. So if you ever find yourself under a blanket of stars, look up and revel in a universe that continues to brew secrets in its glittering cauldron, just for the likes of you to wonder and wander. As your evening exploration continues, a realization blossoms. Perhaps it's not always about cracking the code. Sometimes it's about letting the mystery play its part in this grand celestial narrative. So you take a deep breath, your thoughts softening to the calm knowledge that the universe in all its enigmatic splendor cradles you gently as it spins its age-old tales. The sounds of the night just a step outside wait to serenade your eventual return. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Feel free to post where you're listening from and what time it is on your end. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Picture yourself in an ornate Roman villa, your sandals quietly slapping on the intricate mosaic flooring as you walk from room to room. Each wall is adorned with paintings, fragments of stories and bursts of creativity beyond time. Here, an intriguing fresco catches your eye, capturing a scene both magical and puzzling. You observe a celestial procession figures parading under a vibrant sky filled with swirling clouds and strange glowing orbs. The fresco raises questions. Did the artist who so meticulously brushed these mysterious shapes thousands of years ago glimpse something phenomenal? Or was it the artist's imagination running gloriously wild? Perhaps the answer lies somewhere within both the realms of reality and fantasy. The Romans had a penchant for the spectacular, and their art filled with gods' heroes and mythical beasts illustrates a society intrigued by the unknown. It's a historical fact that Roman paintings were not just decorative, but also symbolic gestures intended to reflect culture, religion, and dreams. As you glide past another fresco depicting an extravagantly dressed figure pointing to the stars, a sense of curiosity prickles your skin. You find yourself wondering, could an ancient Roman have truly seen such celestial wonders? Historians still debate whether these scenes were embodiments of divine presence or just creative interpretations of natural phenomena observed by ancient eyes. Some suggest that what seemed beyond ordinary, the luminous signs in the skies, could have been comets, meteor showers, or even eclipses, though we haven't proof. It certainly wasn't outside the scope of their earthly experience. After all, the Romans were no strangers to astrology and augury, gleaming insights from the heavens to guide their steps. While pondering, you feel the whisper of a gentle breeze at your back, like the caress of time's wisdom. Maybe the frescoes do tell a story, an ancestral dialogue with the universe itself. Perhaps the Romans, with their artful eyes, witnessed extraordinary cosmic events that defied immediate comprehension. And yet let's approach with a playful skepticism, as sometimes wonder manifests through dramatic flair. Just as a playwright bends the truth for the sake of a grander story, an artist might embellish the details of a magical day, immortalizing it within the pigments of their palette. You find yourself musing over another fresco, one with shimmery creatures gliding through shimmering waters. Could they represent sea life, encountered by sailors venturing far from familiar shores? Or could this too be the progeny of vivid dreams, dreaming in paints? As your eyes trace the curve of each painted figure, you absorb the warm embrace of an ancient world that met the bizarre dance between reality and imagination with open arms. The Romans in their tales and artistry balanced on that wondrous threshold. And this is precisely what makes these frescoes so enchanting, the possibility that within the artistic invention there might dwell a seed, a whisper of truth that beckons exploration. One cannot help but wonder if sometimes history, with its carved statues and painted stories, remembers moments no parchment ever captured. As you take a final glance back at those magnificent walls, the enchantment lingers even beyond the thresholds of time. Who is to say if this imagination was purely so, or if some time ago a Roman stood on a hill and looked skyward, witnessing something extraordinary that spoke to cultures yet to come? So much has been lost to antiquity, yet the allure of these silent storytellers endures. The journey leaves you marvelously suspended, softly momentous, like a midsummer night's dream. This Roman villa, with its painted secrets, invites you to ponder and drift along the flow of ages where untold stories seep through brushstrokes and golden glints of forgotten suns. You feel the gentle pressure of the ground against your back as you look up at the darkening sky. The stars slowly begin to peek through the velvet curtain above each one, a tiny portal to a distant past. Lying there, you can't help but wonder about the lives of those who came before. And as your thoughts drift, you find yourself immersed in a world long gone. Beneath you, hidden from view, rests an ancient burial site. Though the earth has reclaimed much of what was once visible, the stories contained within each layer of soil have persisted. Who were these people, you muse? And what circumstances led them to be laid to rest in this manner? As your mind weaves through the tangled threads of history, you recall the canopic jars and painted coffins once used by the ancient Egyptians. Their meticulous burial practices left intricate clues about their lives and beliefs. Interestingly, among the numerous hieroglyphs decorating their tombs, historians have debated the meaning of one particular symbol that appears like a multi-purpose tool, but is thought to hold a deeper, perhaps even secretive significance. You find yourself pondering the grandeur of the pyramids and the great lengths to which the Egyptians went to preserve the memory and status of the deceased. Yet scattered across the earth are far less grandiose burial methods, often more puzzling in their simplicity. Imagine stumbling across a burial pit, teeming with skeletons in various poses, some even seemingly mid-twirl, as if a dance had been abruptly halted. Anthropologists met these findings with a mix of fascination and bewilderment, unable to fully agree on the reasons behind such an arrangement. Your curiosity further piqued you. Picture the ancient Thracian mounds, impressive earthen structures that dot the landscape of modern Bulgaria. These tumuli or burial mounds offer a window into the heart of a warrior society known for their ornate gold treasures and dramatic funeral rites. In contrast, the mounds tell a quieter story, one of reverence and ritual. But even here, questions remain. Some sites contain surprisingly few grave goods, which leads you to wonder whether these individuals were laid to rest with only the barest of their possessions intentionally, or if time has simply eroded away the rest. Consider the mummies of the Chinchorro people of South America, who practiced mummification millennia before the Egyptians. They coated their deceased in mineral-rich clays, creating a protective shell that preserved them in fascinating detail. These ancient artisans had a curious habit of embellishing the artificial eyes of their mummified ancestors with dazzling pigments, leaving modern scholars to wonder about the visionary symbolism this might have held. You can almost envision yourself wandering the pathways of the Herculaneum, the infamous Roman city, entombed by Mount Vesuvius's eruption. Here rooms and streets frozen in time tell poignant tales of the final moments of its residents. While ash casts of bodies suggest chaos and fear, tender arrangements of family members huddled together suggest a quest for solace in their final moments. These poignant images invite you to ponder whether love and the human condition remain unchanged throughout time and catastrophe. In your dreamy exploration, you think back to the bog bodies of Northern Europe, where remarkably preserved remains have been uncovered in striking clarity. Their leathery skin and serene expressions, preserved by acidic peat bogs, hold tales of ritual sacrifice and ancient customs. Yet true intentions behind their gruesome demises remain elusive, a testament to the complex nature of ancient human behavior. Each of these burial practices spans a spectrum from elaborate to starkly pragmatic, driven by the beliefs, values, and resources of the societies at the time. Some chose grandeur and immortality, while others focused on simpler, more intimate farewells. As you lie there nestled by the night's embrace, you are struck by the shared humanity of these practices. Whether clothed in opulent garb or shrouded in simplicity, the desire to find meaning and grace in life's end seems woven into the very fabric of existence. With each discovery and each mystery unveiled, the past extends its hand, inviting you, the observer, to touch the fringes of its enigmatic tapestry. And so, lulled by the soft whisper of the night breeze and the inviting hum of the world as it spins slowly on its axis, you find yourself moving deeper into a place of restful inquiry. What stories will tomorrow tell of today, and who will listen with the same reverence that you feel now, pondering this eternal question of life and beyond, resting here on the threshold between daydreams and dreams? Answers no longer seem so urgent, replaced instead by a comforting sense of wonder and connection. You carefully trace your fingers over the cool surface of the parchment. The lines etched on it are precise, almost too exacting to be considered anything but the work of a skilled expert, a fact that bemuses you as you look around the dimly lit room. The flicker of the candlelight casts shadows that dance across the walls, accentuating the mysterious elegance of your surroundings. This isn't just any parchment. It feels almost like an engineer's blueprint, with a complexity that seems out of place for its time. You find yourself in awe of this diagram's intricate details. The ancient structure it depicts is complex, detailed in a way that suggests a knowledge of engineering far beyond its era. Surely this must be centuries ahead of its time, far removed from the simple methods you might expect. The ancient Egyptians, builders of awe-inspiring pyramids, are already known for their advanced architectural prowess, but this diagram holds secrets that elude even the most seasoned scholars. How could they have acquired such profound insight? Could it be that these enigmatic lines were drawn with guidance from the stars, or perhaps whispered in dreams? Historians still debate whether extraterrestrial influences or lost civilizations shared knowledge with our ancestors, a captivating theory, though not without skepticism. The math behind the pyramids is astoundingly precise, aligning with celestial bodies in a way that suggests more than mere chance. Imagine laying each stone with such intent that it tells a cosmic story. Even in this narrative, you'll find a cheeky reminder navigating the construction of such grand monuments without cranes or computers sounds like the last puzzle you'd want to solve unaided. These drawings, though, seem to have a language all their own, whispering clandestine messages across millennia. More pragmatically, you reckon with the notion of shared human genius, an accumulation of trial and error passed through generations. Yet as you hold the meticulous diagram before you, you suspect there's a hidden chapter to our past, written by those whose stories haven't survived the ravages of time. Returning your gaze to the parchment, you notice a small symbol tucked away in a corner, a mark signifying the origin of this knowledge, its role as a sentinel of unseen wisdom. Perhaps it was a school, an ancient academy, where architects learned the language of the earth and sky, translating it into stone and symmetry. Consider the stunning legacy the builders left behind. The Great Pyramid of Giza stands as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, a testament not only to architectural ambition but divine geometry. Scholars ponder over how the labor required for such feats was organized, how communities rallied resources, and what motivated them beyond mere survival. Yet for now, you let the questions slip like grains of sand through an hourglass, choosing to relax into the cozy wonderment this story leaves. Your thoughts sprinkle softly into ideas of ancient landscapes filled with bustling energy creators, envisioning and realizing dreams in sandstone and granite. You pause, soaking in the tranquil vibe that has settled in your midst. The engineered precision drawn on a worn parchment coexists with an artisan's touch, both separate and unified, as if intent and inspiration were merely 2 sides of the same coin. And somewhere beyond conscious thought, you recognize this moment as one of connection. The mystery of the past links you indelibly to those who walked these paths long ago, leaving behind markers for you to ponder on this peaceful night. As you let this reflection carry you towards the embrace of restful sleep, you can almost hear the ancient whispers, gilded in curiosity, promising dreams woven from the fabric of history itself. The dim glow of the ancient streets unfolds before you, whispering secrets of ages past. Tonight you're immersed in a world brimming with mysterious artifacts, each telling a silent yet profound story. You find yourself amongst a collection of seemingly mundane objects, jars with no lids, meticulously arranged, yet devoid of contents. It sparks a sense of curiosity. Just why were these placed here? You might entertain a soft chuckle thinking, you probably won't survive this, but here you are, guided safely through the annals of history. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Where are you tuning in from, and what time is it there? Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Under the lull of distant echoes, you find yourself in the heart of an ancient city where the whisper of the past mingles with the cool air of the night. You're surrounded by artifacts meticulously placed, as if choreographed by an unseen hand. These jars, devoid of both lids and contents, seem to hold a quiet dignity, almost as if guarding secrets of another time. You wander amongst these relics, pondering their silent tales. What purpose do they serve, these stones of history? And how did they arrive at their stations? Historians still debate whether the lack of lids served a ceremonial purpose or a practical necessity. Some suggest it was a deliberate act to ensure the spirits they were intended for could access them with ease, reminiscent of certain burial rituals observed in Egyptian culture, where items were provided for the afterlife's journey. As you walk deeper, you notice the placement carefully aligned with invisible lines, a stark contrast to the random chaos one might expect. This seems purposeful. Could it be that these vessels performed a role in rituals forgotten by time, the ancient people leaving behind these markers, like breadcrumbs in the sands of history? The streets you stroll might once have been seen by the notorious allies of Rome, portrayed so often as the pinnacle of ancient civilization. Yet the city's secrets eclipse even those mightiest empires, offering mysteries that have vexed scholars and explorers alike. It's like stumbling upon a musical piece composed of silence, each pause filled with questions unanswered. Your steps echo within the embrace of history's arms, grounding yourself in the reality that these were the crafts of hands long since returned to the earth. Could these empty vessels have signaled an offering, or perhaps an invitation to the gods who wandered above? The same gods, perhaps, whose tales still inspire sculpture and verse across the world. And then a surprising discovery sets your mind awhirl. Near the base of these somber vessels, faint symbols begin their dance across the surface. They speak in a lost language, a script, untold, weaving stories only the dawn once knew. Some scholars propose these cryptic notations were not words but prayers or invocations for protection or prosperity. As you continue your stroll, a hint of incense seems to linger in the air, a fragrance connecting you to the many feet that walked here before. It is as if this place retains the essence of its former vibrance through these rare instances of olfactory remembrance. Could these jars have ever brimmed with grains, oils, or honey traded in markets, bustling with life's clamor, only to be left empty when the fates turned the wheel towards decline? Or perhaps they were sentinels waiting for a purpose that their creators had long since forgotten. The calming aura of this gentle historical labyrinth cradles you, inviting thoughts of what once was and perhaps what still lingers unseen by modern eyes. The details leave you enchanted and engaged, as one would be by a fairy tale ever transient, yet enduring in history's fold, just like the legends of Troy, which some say were but stories, until the stones themselves whispered the truth of their past. With this gentle tugging at the threads of imagination, those jars, silent though they are, add to the fabric of a past that beckons you to pause, ponder, and listen. Is it not remarkable how often it is the silence of history that speaks most profoundly to the heart? Imagine the dim twilight over a dense forest, the gentle rustle of leaves, and the whisperings of nocturnal creatures waking from their slumber. You've been here before, feeling the familiar cool air and the tender weight of uncertainty pressing on your shoulders. But tonight there's something different. You find yourself alone, your footsteps muffled by the soggy earth beneath. You're fleeing, but from what? Or perhaps from whom? Behind you, the stories of those who once walked these paths loom in the shadows. History tends to do that, doesn't it? A single glance over your shoulder evokes the tales of great figures. Take Napoleon, for instance, who famously retreated across Europe with a trail of defeated dreams. His shadow could almost be pacing quietly behind you, nodding at your back as if in solidarity. As you move through the forest, the air hangs heavy with mystery, and the moon casts fragmented light through the sprawling branches above. Megalithic stones poke through the underbrush like ancient sentinels, each whispering secrets of the past. It's hard not to wonder if they'd witnessed countless others skirting hurriedly through these woods just as you are now. You hear a soft trickle nearby, the call of a stream hidden among the foliage. It invites you to pause, if only for a moment to quench not just your thirst, but to reflect. After all, it was alongside such discrete streams that early humans built their first communities, leaving behind artifacts that baffle archaeologists to this very day. There's something oddly comforting in their presence, these remnants of those who came before. You kneel by the stream, the coolness of the water a relief against your palms. And yet, as you drink, the question that rests on the edge of your thoughts still lingers. Why are you running? It's a curious sensation fleeing, without knowing what drives your urgency. You press onward, the murmur of the water fading behind. The branches part to reveal a glade, eerily lit by the moon's glow. Here the stories continue to swirl, each swaying branch and dancing leaf, a part of history's greater rhythm. You recall an unusual tale of the Viking explorer, Leif Erikson, who set off bravely from Greenland. His quest led him to discover new lands, Vinland, the stuff of legend, long before the rest of Europe knew of it. But even Leif, with his bravado, knew moments of retreat. Stepping back to reconsider, to regroup, wasn't defeat, but strategy. In the starlit silence of the glade, you ponder the nature of journeys themselves. Historians still debate whether Leif's Vinland was truly the same place as the later discussed America. It's a thought that resonates deeply within you, the uncertainty acting like a guiding star. Sometimes ambiguity pushes us forward more fervently than certainty ever could. Your journey is interrupted by the call of an owl perched silently on an ancient oak. Its eyes pierce through you much like the gaze of Cleopatra must have done in the courts of Alexandria. Unlike you, Cleopatra shunned running away. Still in this nocturnal solitude, even she might have taken a quiet moment, drawn back from the bustling politics of her time, a brief retreat into thoughtful reflection. Continuing, you weave through the labyrinthine trails, your path echoing the footsteps of those who paused, fled, and finally found. The journey might seem daunting, but just like our dear friend Archimedes, who famously leapt from a bath shouting, "Eureka!" Sometimes the answers come when we least expect them. Perhaps your own Eureka moment lies just beyond the crest of the next hill. With each step, the layers of history that blanket the ground beneath you seem to whisper words of encouragement. You are not the first to stand at such a crossroads, and you certainly won't be the last. So much of the world's great moments and discoveries came from a moment just like this. A pause amid a flight, a breath during a pursuit. The world is much like the enigma that kept the great thinkers of Athens up at night, scrutinizing the skies and scrutinizing themselves. It is both vast and confined, expanding with each new thought, birthed by a mind in motion, contemplating its place in the expanse of time. As the night gently wraps you in its embrace, your pace softens, a fugitive of your own mind, seeking solace, not just from what follows, but from what lies within. The world unfolds quietly, whispering with historical echoes and future promises, an invitation to keep exploring, to keep discovering. Is the chase ever truly over, or is it just beginning to wind its way into the annals of your personal history? Only time and your perseverance will tell. You're drifting in a gentle dreamscape where histories ripple through time like reflections on a pond. In this realm, you wander into the heart of an ancient library where forgotten scrolls whisper tales of long-lost eras. One particular manuscript catches your attention. Its language as poetic as a flowing river, discussing curious phenomena, such as seasons folding in reverse. As you settle into this cozy corner of your imagination, the narrative envelops you. It describes how artists and philosophers of old pondered this expression, seasons folding in reverse, a metaphor some claimed for time, unwinding, cycling backwards through history. Visualize autumn leaves retreating back into their branches, or the warmth of summer air cooling into the crispness of spring. How could such an enchanting notion be more than just whimsical poetry? Yet scholars are divided on its meaning. You meander through the ages, seeing historians tilting their heads in gardens of debate. Some suggest these were allegorical references used in ancient rituals to represent rebirth and renewal, cyclical patterns that civilizations yearned for, just like the harvests they faithfully awaited each year. Others, however, propose that it hints at forgotten histories, metaphorical explorations of knowledge lost to time, as if pulled back into an abyss of obscurity, reversing cultural advances as days might slide back into nights. Among the scrolls, you find an intriguing historical fact tucked within the lyrical prose. In some ancient cultures, specific festivals were indeed celebrated by mimicking the passage of time backwards. One such festival occurred in Babylon, where New Year's festivities involved rituals of undoing the past year's burdens, symbolically rolling back time to reset the world. Picture grand feasts, where revelers danced counter to the clock, laughing at the face of time. Yet more unnerving is an unusual detail, a recorded account of a forgotten people who believed their elders had the ability to perceive echoes of the past by witnessing these so-called reverse seasons, granting them wisdom about events yet to come. Between fact and fable, such practices stir the imagination like a soft breeze rustling through evening leaves. As your mind wanders further, pondering the implications of reversing time, you can't help but feel a gentle tug at your curiosity. Does time merely fold backward in distant legends, or have we all at least once wished for just such a power? Historians remain unsettled, debating whether these were aspirations for their futures or yearnings to reverse past regrets. The library around you feels timeless in its serenity, like it, too, listens eagerly to each crackle of parchment, each word that dances off your tongue. Things once lost are again found, if only for a moment, as your imagination weaves them into newfound narratives. Perhaps the truth is resting quietly between the lines, living in that tender space where history becomes story and story becomes history. Through the mellow glow of this imagined place, you draw parallels to our own modern world. Just like those ancient thinkers, you too navigate a life filled with seasons, a cycle not linear, but ever repeating. Whether the leaves around you unfurl or cascade to the ground, each moment is a chapter added to the scroll you continuously write. With time ever our companion and occasionally our riddle, we, like those scholars of old, continue to ponder its mysteries just as you now ponder ours. Turning the page, you leave the debate behind, the library closing its door softly on this chapter of the past. Yet it leaves you with a gentle reminder of life's fluidity, how each tick of the clock might be more than a march forward, perhaps a humble pirouette, a dance you join in the quiet solitude of your thoughts. You slowly open your eyes to find yourself in a bustling Roman marketplace, the sun warming your skin and a gentle breeze brushing past you, carrying the scent of fresh bread and olives. You wander through the narrow streets lined with merchants hawking their wares, each stall a vibrant display of spices, handcrafted pottery, and richly dyed fabrics. But amidst this vivid tapestry of daily Roman life, something catches your eye, a gleaming glass lens, distinct from the usual rough-cut shapes familiar in ancient markets. You pause, curiosity piqued, as you wonder whether this is merely an oddity or a clue to something far more intriguing about the Romans' understanding of optics. Historians have long known the Romans were masterful engineers after all. They built aqueducts that rival modern water systems and roads that have withstood the ages. Yet here, you stand pondering whether their knowledge extended to even more sophisticated realms, a notion not usually credited to them. A local artisan, noticing your interest, beckons you over staff in hand, ready to spin tales of this mysterious object and its origins. You listen, closely aware that history is often more layered than it first appears. As you lean in, the artisan explains that glass in Roman times was highly valued for its beauty and practicality, often used in windows and vessels. But what truly stirs your imagination is the suggestion that some Roman glassmakers might have inadvertently, or perhaps deliberately, stumbled upon principles of optics far ahead of their time. Imagine these ancient craftsmen amid the smoke and heat of their furnaces, handling molten glass to shape lenses that magnified not just images, but our understanding of the Roman world itself. It's fascinating to consider that Romans employed polished glass to create simple magnifying devices. Were these early magnifiers used for something as mundane as checking for imperfections in textiles? Or was there a more profound application, like examining insects or small objects in greater detail? Historians still debate whether these lenses were simply curiosities or tools of early scientific inquiry, their true purpose forever adrift in the currents of time. The artisan shares a surprising tale about Emperor Nero, who is said to have used an emerald as a lens to view the fights in the Colosseum, protecting his eyes from the harsh glare of the sun. Whether myth or truth, it paints a vivid picture of innovation masked as luxury, The Romans blending opulence with utility in ways that make your modern perspective rethink ancient ingenuity. In the midst of this reflection, you recall a similar curiosity. From earlier in your journey, a polished piece of crystal said to help Roman soldiers signal each other across long distances, a primitive precursor to our modern lenses. The connections in your mind spool out like threads in a tapestry, revealing the interconnectedness of history and the often overlooked innovations that have paved the way for today's technology. As you meander further through the market, you stumble upon an elderly scholar in flowing toga, absorbed in a scroll. With his nimble fingers and keen eyes glancing at you, he shares stories of Roman scholars who meticulously recorded the workings of nature and technology. They held symposiums, arguably the TED Talks of their day, to share knowledge and spark ideas. You ponder just how much of this ancient knowledge is lost, and how much survives, perhaps nestled in forgotten tomes, waiting to be rediscovered. Listening to the elderly scholar, your thoughts drift to how many other secrets of ancient science lie hidden, overshadowed by more dramatic tales of gladiators and gods. You glance once more at the glass lens in your hand, contemplating its potential for revealing a world unseen by the naked eye, much like the quiet moments of realization you find just before drifting to sleep. These reflections urge you to wonder about the nature of progress and whether sometimes the past holds the keys to the future. As your day in this vibrant Roman setting draws to a close, the shadows begin to stretch longer across the cobbled streets, ushering in a gentle stillness. You return the glass lens with a nod of gratitude to the artisan, who reminds you that the mysteries of history are as enduring as the glass itself, both fragile and remarkably resilient. With these thoughts, your footsteps echo softly as you make your way back through the marketplace, leaving behind whispers of antiquity and subtle glassy marvels. In the soft embrace of evening, as stars slowly punctuate the Roman sky, you find a quiet spot to relax. The gentle hum of distant conversations fades into the background, lulling you into contemplation. Even as you let your eyelids slip shut, the echoes of your day linger, a reminder of the intricate dance of history and technology, forever intertwined, just like the murmur of waves against an ancient shore. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'd love to know where you're tuning in from, so do share your location and local time. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You take a cautious step forward, and the ground feels uneven beneath your feet, as if centuries of stories are locked beneath the very stones you tread upon. The cave's entrance looms ahead, a gaping maw with shadows that dance around its borders. No one knows who sealed it, and according to local lore, no one's brave enough to try breaking the seal. As you move deeper, you remember reading about similar sealed spaces throughout history. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor, comes to mind with its mercury rivers and booby traps. Though still unopened to this day, the tantalizing promise of buried treasures and curses entices the imagination just as this cave does now. The academic community remains divided. Some say leaving such places untouched preserves their sanctity, while others argue for exploration and what might be learned. The air grows cooler as you venture further into the cave, a gentle whisper of history brushing against your skin. Stalactites hang like spectral chandeliers overhead, occasionally dripping water that echoes in the vast silence. You pause to examine the ceiling, an intricate slab that defies clear interpretation. Its carvings are reminiscent of lost scripts you've seen etched into Mayan stelae or Viking runestones. But these symbols are different. They pulse with a strange opacity, as if whispering stories just out of earshot. Legend has it that this place was sealed by an ancient society, the specifics of which remain shrouded in uncertainty. Historians still debate whether it was a forgotten tribe or a more advanced civilization that left their mark here. You touch the cold surface and imagine the hands that carved these symbols, the motives behind their sealing act, and the possibility of protecting or hiding something of immense power or profound knowledge. A gust of wind that shouldn't be there rustles through the chamber, bringing with it a faint scent of something foreign, spices perhaps long forgotten by time. It reminds you of tales of far-off lands, of Silk Road caravans carrying mysterious goods from the east. You press on, guided by the flickering lantern light and an irresistible pull that comes from the deep curiosity these ancient mysteries ignite. The lore of this cave speaks of a guardian, though the stories conflict. Some claim it was a dragon, a timeless creature, slumbering beneath the weight of earth and stone. Others suggest it was a deity, forgotten by time, the last vestige of a faith that vanished without a trace. The reality of such myths is often dismissed, yet as you peer into the depths of this place, the story seems to breathe with possibility. Your journey through this narrative labyrinth calls to mind Howard Carter's discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb, a historical fact you recall vividly. The curse associated with disturbing the pharaoh's rest is an anecdote that has intrigued many, with debates still circling about its authenticity. Like those explorers of the past, you stand at the precipice of discovery, hoping to unravel the secrets within, without invoking the ire of something better left unawakened. As you venture deeper, the twisting path of the cave narrows temporarily, the walls pressing closer, as if guarding the entrance to the sanctum beyond. Here you feel as though you are stepping into a history unexplored, a secret dance of shadows and light that plays on the unseen. The notion of uncovering a lost piece of the past urges your feet forward, even while a small voice warns of the things that ought to remain sealed. Each step brings you closer to whatever it is that waits beyond. Yet there's a comfort in the journey itself, a connection to the story's whispers and histories forgotten by time. Perhaps it is this very journey, that history intended for you a path of understanding rather than conquest, that brings you just a little closer to the mysteries of the world. The cave bends one last time, its labyrinth unfurling before you, a chamber that opens suddenly and expansively. Here the glow that first caught your attention seems to seep from the walls themselves, entwining you in a soft embrace of light and dust. There's a palpable sense of completion, as if this space was waiting just for you to witness its silent testimony. You look around, sensing an audience of the ages who silently observe this moment. It is these spaces and stories that unite our curiosity, urging us to connect with what was, even if just for a brief moment. As you stand there, time stretches out, unfurling passages of imagination that dance alongside the truth. And while no one may know who sealed this place, no signature carved, no name left in the annals of history, the impulse to wonder remains as open-ended as ever. With a softened heart and a mind aglow with possibilities, you begin to retrace your steps, a step back into the now, back into your world, bringing with you just a touch of the light and mystery from within. The soft, distant echoes of your journey guide you back through the narrowing path, each step on the stone floor bringing a sense of calm closure. The curiosity that pulled you inward now soothes your thoughts like a lullaby ebbing with each footfall. As you make your way out, you keep with you the notion that the seal might never be broken, that some things might be best preserved in the beauty of their mystery. Emerging into the world above you, feel the night air cool and refreshing. The stars overhead seem brighter now, having witnessed your quiet adventure. The tales of sealed mysteries, whether abandoned or undiscovered, are like the stars, endless in their ability to captivate and inspire. Deep within their stories, whether founded or filled with fantasy, lies the essence of our constant search for meaning. You sense the patterns as waves of calmness flow over you. These are reminders of the tales shared by those who've walked similar paths, whispering behind the gentle fluttering of leaves around you. With every star above you, feel a comfort in knowing the vast expanse of stories yet to be told, of mysteries that remain beautifully unsolved, as if lovingly stitched into the fabric of time. Carried by the serene stillness, your thoughts drift like leaves on a stream guided toward rest. Each turn of the world brings with it a new story, a glimmer, amidst the vast cycle of history. It is not the end of the story, but the gentle pause of breath before sleep embraces you as you lay your head and let dreams weave through your thoughts. The promise of tomorrow awaits with new adventures, mysteries untold, and histories to ponder. In this tranquil moment, assured of the rightness of mysteries left sealed and stories still to be written, you allow yourself to drift softly into rest, enveloped by the timeless embrace of night